Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Grounders TV. Got Joey and Nick on here with us. And today, you know what? We're going to talk about actually three of the most biggest pain in the asses there is, I think. Generators, air conditioners, and awnings. I mean, those three things seem to plague everybody.
They can ruin your weekend.
It can ruin your weekend real fast too.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the biggest one, and that's the generator. I think that one right there seems to me here lately. Everybody that I know is complaining about. Well, I got out and started to coach up and got everything going. Then I tried to turn the generator on and it wouldn't start. Well, I'll be.
Yep. Well, one of the biggest things that we see when people leave the RV sitting is we'll get the fuel will gum up into the carburetor, and when you go to start it, it's not getting any fuel supply into the actual carburetor. It's just sitting there in the bowl, and it will cause it not to start. Yeah. Other thing, sometimes rats make nests in the generators, and just from the metal and the coolness, and when they open the cover, they've come to figure out that the rat ate half the wiring, and that's why she's not starting.
So what do we do? How do we fix that?
Well, your best thing to do is, I would say, start the generator every month, every 3 months. If you're not buy it a lot, or put some kind of fuel stabilizers, some seafoam into the gas, and let it run for a little bit before you let it sit. And then once that stabilizer's in there, it'll keep it from gumming up.
So because that is going to be in our main fuel supply, that probably goes for the motor as well, right? Let the motor run and let the generator run before you shut it down with the seafoam in it. Do you recommend?
Yes, seafoam or some kind of stabilizer.
Okay. Do you recommend topping the tank off of the gas of the coach?
I would recommend topping it off, but at least don't like it below a quarter tank, because the line is going to run dry going to the generator once you drop below a quarter tank. And we're seeing some newer ones that it's even around 3/8 of the tank that the generator stop and getting fuel supply.
3/8 of a tank.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Hey, John, I'm going to butt in for a minute here.
Yeah.
These RVs are basically like a boat and a jet ski, okay? Especially when they have the big metal tanks in them. If you're going to put them in storage after you use them, you should fill the tank totally to the top, because if you don't, the tank will get condensation on the top of the tank inside, and it'll drip water from the heat. Okay, it just does it automatically. The same with the boats. If you're going to store them, just fill the tank all the way to the top with premium unleaded and a stabilizer. This will save you a lot of hassle when you go to use the generator. The best thing to do if you have the RV stored at your house is to start the generator every couple weeks. If you have it at a place, a storage facility, I would start it every month, at least for 2 hours, and just let it run. Maybe take the RV out to the ice cream parlor, or go do something with your family on the weekend, just a little short trip. An RV, you can't just, it's like a boat. If you're going to let it sit, you shouldn't have it. You have to at least do short trips with it here and there, or something. Even our RV ourselves, that me and Nick have, we rent it out so it gets some use. But when it's here, we start the generator and start it up, keep it, full of fuel. Another thing about generators is people need to just leave them alone. If they don't start, they need to go to a repair facility and have them start it. Don't start messing with the carburetor or any of the linkages, because it creates a problem for the repair shop. People think you can just turn the screw on these generators, and it's not right. There's a serious problem with a lot of shops also. I'm going to let you know. They think these are just like small engines, so they'll go and adjust the carburetor and play with the screw. And you need to have one of these. It's a Hertz meter, and you plug it into the RV, and then you adjust the carburetor until you hit 60 hertz. 59 to 60 and a half is great. A lot of people think they just play with the screw till it stops smoking, the generator runs smooth, and they think they did something. Well, they did. But the problem is they're going to have a problem in the long run because they don't have the right frequency or hertz going into the RV. And I'll let Nick take over from there.
Yeah, we actually had
no, go ahead.
We actually had a gentleman that came in, and he was on a short time span between. We've done multiple work with him, and he was on a short time span. He had to leave to, I believe it was Georgia, and his AC went out. And we're like, okay, bring it in. We got the unit for you. We'll slap it in. We were done half an hour, up and ready to go. We had it plugged into shore power. We were like, everything's good to go. Well, when he went to come pick it up, we turned the generator on to supply power, everything, and we're standing there talking. Next thing you know, the AC unit's on is melting. The actual wiring to it, and we're like, what the heck's going on? So we killed the generator, and I called Joe there, and I was like, did we ever touch this generator? And he's like, no, why? And I said, somebody messed with this thing, and it was running at 52 hertz. It was, the amps were supposed to be 13. We had the amps all the way up at 18, and it was just melting the wire nuts off of it. Come to find out, another big box office, I won't say their name, they messed with the generator when he was out of town, and they messed up it so bad that it was supplying the improper power to everything and became a huge issue. So when people don't know what they're doing on the generators, it's best just to leave them alone, because essentially you could burn your investment down, or you could kill your family.
So I didn't even know there was a screw. Now, when you say you're talking about the idler screw, is that what people are adjusting?
It's the jet. It's the jet. It lets the fuel go into the carburetor, and basically that's how you adjust them. You never touch with that top screw for the idle that comes from the factory. Don't ever touch it. But I want to touch base on something else. We have an RV here right now, and I'm a little disappointed, and I will name the name. It's Onan Cummins dealer. Just did $2,400 worth of work. It was 1,100 and 900 or something on a guy's generator up in Georgia, again in Georgia, and they never adjusted the valves. They told him that they had to put a new carburetor on it for $1,100, but they had to make the carburetor because they had to redesign the generator. And the elderly man believed what they were telling him. And Nick's my witness to this. The generator's here right now. I wish we had some pics to put up, but they literally ruined the head on his generator. There's metal shavings in the motor. The valve rocker popped off of the push rod. And it was just backfiring. So we told the gentleman there's 1 or 3 fixes. We're doing the cheapest fix, and we hope it lasts. But you can't. If I go to a Ford dealer or a Chevy dealer or a Dodge dealer, I expect my vehicle fixed correctly. These are professionals. Now he went directly to Cummins Owning in Georgia. And this is what they did to the man. They basically ruined his generator, which is $7,600 plus the shipping. $3,700 to rebuild it if we rebuild it, but we're going a cheaper route with them for, I believe it's around $1,300. We're redoing the valves and stuff. Yeah. So, people think that if you go to a big box store just because they're fancy, they got a big name out there, that they're doing their job right. I'm going to tell you, in today's world, when you go to the bigger stores, you're getting a worse job than the little guy because they don't care.
Because that is crazy. I mean, the actual manufacturer of the generator basically lied to the guy about, we're going to remake it, redo it, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't, and they just ruined it.
Yeah, and there's no such thing as making a carburetor, redesign a carburetor to fit, because It's one carburetor. One carburetor fits on a 4,000. One fits on a 5 to 7,000, 5,500. And another thing is these people go on when they come in here and we tell them you need a carburetor, it's $700, $800. They're like, oh, well, I can buy it on Amazon
Oh,
for $44.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah. Yep.
great.
Yep. Yep.
Go ahead and put it on there.
that's
Yep.
nuts. I have a
People
question
don't
for you.
understand.
So
Mhm.
we're talking about having fuel in there, a whole 9 yards adjustment. Do you recommend running non-ethanol in your coach versus regular gas or super unleaded?
No,
Nope.
no.
Okay.
I think the price comparison to benefits are just not really there. And
Okay.
in some places that sell non-ethanol, it's still ethanol gas. It's just a hype. I mean, we've learned that through with boats and stuff when we put non-ethanol in, and the
Yeah.
glass is yellow as urine. Like,
Really?
Basically, like I said, I used to drive truck and deliver fuel, and none ethanol and ethanol. They're not doing nothing. You're just paying more for it. They're adding an additive, which you can do yourself.
Oh, well,
it's
that makes
same thing.
that's sad because I always thought that if you get non-ethanol, it's the old-timey pure gas unleaded.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Just not anymore. If you're just running like the generator itself, like the little standalone ones, then if you can get non-ethanol and you can find it, then sure, run that. But for the most part, just put some kind of stabilizer, some kind of additive in it to help it out.
So you like seafoam?
We
Yes.
do. It's been a lifesaver.
It's the best stuff on the market. We've tried everything: Marvel, Mystery Oil, different kind of dry gases, fuel stabilizer from Home Depot, but the Seafoam is by far the best.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. You guys are seeing. Well, you're seeing the uses when you're seeing the results of when people actually use it and when they don't use it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And you can see the results of the other stuff versus what you like.
Yeah. We've had customers bring in carburetors that they said basically other shops who were just like, oh, change it out. They didn't really have the money. And we're like, here, bring it in and with a can of Seafoam. We suck it up in through the fuel pump, let it sit there for 24, 48 hours, and that carburetor fires right up and she's up and running and good.
Jeez. That's sad. That's so sad.
Yeah.
But so,
John, we have so many tricks that we learned in this trade. We could probably be on the internet for 7 years and forget half of what we know.
Yeah.
And that's no lie. There's the craziest stuff that happens. Generators are a pain in the neck, like we just went through. But if you start them and you take care of them, and the worst thing to do, even with a car in today's world, all this stuff is made with junk. Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Mhm.
So even a car or a truck, you should never run it under half a tank because the fuel pump's working harder and it just causes premature failure anyway, and it's picking up sludge and whatever's in the tank.
right. Yeah, tell that to
So
my wife.
I
Get in the
recommend.
car. And
He's
it's
got to
like
remind me too.
under empty. Oh, I've got 20 more miles. Oh, no, you don't.
No.
You may get
Just-
20 more miles, but that engine's probably got about 10 years left, if not even that.
No. That fuel pump is just gonna.
So since we're on the generators, now let's go back to that piece of equipment that you showed up there, Nick. Now that is not something for the average RV consumer to mess with, correct? That's something that you guys use as a tool.
I don't recommend an RV user or a repair shop, mechanic shop, or small engine shop to even look at the generator on an RV.
Okay.
Period. Because they do not know what they're doing, and it causes more problems. Then it ends up here, and we're the ones that have to tell the customer, "Listen, they ruined your generator."
Oh, by the
I don't
way.
want to tell that to the customer.
Right.
Yeah, that is something though you can plug into your coach. It kind of keeps you as a precaution. It tells that one tells you voltage. It tells you hertz. So even if you go into a park and you plug in and and you think, oh yeah, I have 120 hertz or 120 volts, and you plug in, you're only at 117. You're like, okay, well, is there a problem with my coach? Do I have a problem there, or is it the park power? And also, you could with the hertz, if you could plug into the park and it's dropped, or it's somewhere around like say 58, you're not getting the cleanest, most accurate power. So I would probably regulate as much as that you're using, because you don't want to burn anything up while you're using it. But sometimes you have to use the power that you have.
Which is
Yes,
a very
especially up in northern, like if you get north of Cedar Key, all the way up to Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi,
right.
they're all on a delta power. It's the worst power you can put into an RV or even into a home, but that's all they have.
So that spins us back to a product that we talked about last week when you need that is it a suppressor
Surge protector,
or what do you call it, Nick?
oh, your surge protector,
Surge
or
protector,
the
yeah.
EMS. Yeah. The EMS is going to monitor the voltage before it actually sends it through the surge protector into your unit.
Now, the one that you guys
Yeah.
recommend does that one that has all the good lights on it that says, "Hey, this is really crappy power. Be careful."
So they all have their stages. So there's cheaper ones that you can buy for $40 that's just kind of a surge protector that just has a certain amount of joules that it will basically handle when the power does surge. And then you have your more upgraded ones that run close to $400 that are going to monitor the power before it actually sends it into your unit. And Watchdog has a various degree of them, but some people, if you tell them surge protector, they run and they grab this $40 thing and they're like, "Wow, I'm protected." And then
Walmart, yay!
It doesn't do anything. Yeah, that doesn't really do as much as it should.
But
Another
something
thing
is better than nothing. But if you're gonna in the long run, I always everything that I do has to be, like, what's my return on my investment? Well, if my electrical system is going to last 10 years instead of 3 years by getting the $400 version, I think that's the better buy.
Yeah, I would say the better buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is Watchdog come out with a new thing if you're at a campground. It actually, like say you're at the campground and you're getting 115, 116 volts and it's not proper, you need 120. They came out with a box. It's about $450 to $700, which one you need.
Mm-hmm.
It actually takes that voltage and brings it up to where it needs to be. It's
Really?
fantastic. Yeah. I'm going to take my headphones off for 1
And
second
go grab
and I'm
one.
actually going to show you one. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Nick,
'cause we
how does that work where it could actually where it actually can bring it up?
It's a booster. I believe it's a transformer in there that boosts the power. It's like a battery. It's like a bank that sits there with the extra power and helps bring it up to where it needs to be.
And now, does that get installed under the coach, inside the electrical, or does it have to go inside next to where your actual inverter converter is?
So there's one that's a direct wire. The box is actually, once you see it, the box is actually pretty big. Or you could, it doesn't even fit all the way in the picture.
That's huge.
Yeah,
I'm going to lift it up.
Or you
This
just plug
thing's
into-
about 75 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe,
It's,
you're not supposed to be picking anything up over 15 pounds, bud. I'm throwing him under the bus.
But there's one plug that you can direct wire it into your unit, or you can put that out at the pole and plug it into, and that does the same thing, as it has the surge protector built into it, and it's a booster also. So that's
we
why
can
you
sit
get that.
outside. It's okay to get wet.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And how much of those
Very-
run?
They're
Anywhere-
5 to 450 to 700, I think, was about the price.
450 to 700. Watchdog gave them to us for what we do for them,
Shows and-
because
Yeah.
we talk about them a lot, and they give it to
It's
us
turned
to
a lot of
test
people onto them.
RVs too.
We
Yes.
should see if they'll give one away for a raffle, and we'll get the first 500 person that watches, we'll do a raffle.
Okay.
We'll give one. Well, I mean, I can't say that, but we have to see if they'll do it
Yeah,
for
we
us.
could,
But
yeah.
Well, actually, we know Bo. I'm good friends with him on Facebook. He's the rep for them in this area. And he actually came in. He has a whole setup where he shows you what the watchdog does and how it trips and the different lights. And I'm going to try to get him to come in on the show.
oh heck yeah,
and
dude!
and
Yeah.
see if he can talk them into being sponsors once he's
Yeah.
on the show.
So this is the one show that we never really built a Facebook page for, but I think we're going to need a Facebook page for this one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get there.
Yeah, well, I'll start
Definitely.
working on that this week. That way, well, maybe we'll hit it our 500 follower. Actually, no, let's
Okay.
make it good. Let's make it our 2,000th follower. Now, let's see what the problem is when you say that. Everybody holds off until try to be that 2,000th guy.
We got so many groups, we might be able to hit 2,000 in the first
we hit
24
2,000
hours.
quickly.
Yeah, I've got groups with
I'm just
2,000 in a
going to
couple
let
days.
Joey take over building the Facebook page. It's just so much easier because the man knows what he's doing. He's a Facebook rock star.
The groups have really
Yep,
turned
I'm
out
learning.
well.
I'm learning.
We get so many customers from Facebook. It's insane. It's
Yep.
I guess because that generation is just between like 25 and 55 is just a lot of them are on
It's the
social
Gen
media
X,
and Facebook.
Gen X edge of boomer world.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I like about Facebook?
Put your
And,
mic closer
we
to
built-
you, Joey.
We built our reputation, on integrity. We always do the right thing for the customer. But the Facebook is fantastic because all our customers are on there. So when somebody asks, like in Brooksville the other day, it started and it went all West Coast RV all the way down, and there was one they named a automotive repair shop. But it was all you see it, John. They say West Coast RV, take it to them.
So, Joey, I'm going to ask you a question you're never supposed to ask a woman. How old are you?
58.
Oh, we're the same age.
Oh.
Yeah,
damn.
I'm just as old as you. Only
So,
I'm in worse shape.
So, Joey, you know how I knew we were close to the same age? Because he doesn't call it Facebook. He calls it the Facebook.
The Facebook?
The
I call it the
Facebook.
internet.
The internet.
Nick calls
You're not
it
on
the
the internet.
internet.
I'm on the internet. I'm on the Facebook.
I'm on the line.
But,
I'm getting on the TikTok until they ban it. I'm staying
Anyway,
on that,
I'd
I'm
like-
staying on that truck. All right,
I'd like
now, Joey, you showed me a piece of equipment before we got started, and it kind of does tie into the generator side. Actually, now today, you're controlling your whole coach by this.
Okay.
Do you still have it sitting in front of you?
Yes,
Are you
I
talking
do.
about the
It's right
tablet?
here.
The
Yeah. No.
the command-
The
Oh,
tablet.
no.
no, Command Pro. On
Okay.
your right, yeah.
This is the Command Pro right here.
Now, I don't have one of
Okay.
those in my coach. I feel left out.
This is the
just
backside.
Be lucky.
I'm lucky.
And
So-
then there's a control box underneath in the compartment that must have 200 wires in it because I had a wire one. Nick was out on the road, and I mixed
poor
up two
Nick,
wires.
Left Joe there to deal with electronics. That's not a good thing.
That wasn't good because I even had my glasses on.
Oh,
And I
God.
mixed up two wires, and he come back and I says, Nick, I don't know what's going on. Everything seems to work, but one slide's going when you hit the other slide. He got underneath there. He says, "Oh, you just got the wires messed up." I said, "I'm sorry."
So
But we're honest. If I mess something up, I just grab him because he never messes nothing up. It's just amazing,
So I was sitting in your office a couple of weeks ago, and I remember I looked at Joe and I said, "Hey, because you were talking about today's coaches, everything is controlled in one central place, and by that one piece of machinery right there." And I'm like, you know what, so my wife and I, we love our coach, and we love our coach. And I said, but it's an older coach, it's a 16 or a 15. I said,
you got there
so
before
should I upgrade? And you look at me screen guy goes, nope,
No,
don't do it.
You upgrade. Don't talk to us no more. I'm done.
I would.
No, I'm keeping it simple. I really do. I
junk.
love my coach, and you guys have
We
taken
wouldn't
very
even have
good
the
care of it.
2018.
Every year I've got to schedule a trip down there. And actually, I may be coming down. I don't know if I'm going to drive it down. I may make it go there, but it looks like I may be going to Sturgis with it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a long trip. So, Nick, I may have to just pay for a couple of days of you coming up here and going through it and make sure it'll make it.
Yeah, he got a new car. He'll run up there, no problem at all.
I need a trip. Yeah.
get you away from Joe for at least a day or two.
Hell no, I'm going with him.
Oh, you're going? Well, come on up.
3-day weekend.
There you party. I'll take you. I'll take you to Chattanooga, and I'm going to take you to one of the best little stinking restaurants down here. It's been here since 56, I believe it is, and it's called Bees. Right. This is cool. Not that I'm not trying to digress, but my RV's been to this place, so I can talk about it, right? So you go in, you pay one fee. You pay I think it's like $24, $25, right? And you sit down. There's no menu. All they're going to do is they're going to start putting food in front of you, and typically it's fried chicken, it's pulled pork, it is depending on the night too, because then there's one night it's fish. Then there's ham, and then there's collard greens, new potatoes, pinto beans, slaw. There's all kind of stuff. And you sit around a table that's on a Lazy Susan, big, massive Lazy Susan table, and you just eat until you can't eat no more. And then when it's all done, they bring these little bowls of diabetes in a cup. It's dude, I'm telling you,
it's triple fudge brownie or something.
And it's either peach cobbler or a berry cobbler. Sometimes if you get really lucky, they have banana pudding night. And I tell you what, that's a hard night to walk away from. And if you walk away there hungry, there's something wrong with you, because let me tell you,
wrong. Yeah,
and it's good, and it's good food. Yep. It's one price, and you either get sweet tea or water or unsweet tea. You can order a soda, but it's not an all you can drink. They literally will bring you a bottle of soda and go, that's it.
Oh my, that's it.
And their sweet tea it's diabetes in a bottle. So it's so sweet. I have to mix it. But anyway, come on up.
So what I'm thinking of, John, we'll come up there. Me and Nick will drive up there. We'll get in your RV. We'll go down there. And we'll eat all we can eat, and then we'll just sit in the parking lot, drink rum till the morning.
I am really good with that.
With the campfire.
Me too. All right, so let's move on to the next big pain in the ass, which can really
air conditioning.
In the summertime, this will literally. So I full disclosure here. Okay, so I'm new to RVing. I've had RVs, but I'm newer to it, so I don't know everything, and I'll be the first person. And I think that's why it makes me a good guy to help be one of the hosts on here, because I don't know. I didn't realize that you don't have to use your ACs to heat your coach. I didn't
you have
know.
the heat pump. Yeah. Most people don't have heat pumps. Right. Yeah. You have a furnace. You have the fireplace.
My wife is like, is there any way to shut those things off? Because it's just constant. And I'm like, well, you want to stay warm, because we were living in our coach while we were getting our house ready to sell. Then I went over to you guys, and your dad's like, aren't you turning the furnace on? I'm like, what? I have a furnace? And sure enough, I started going and looking, and I'm like, oh, if I choose heat with a flame instead of electric, I have heat. I burn through propane, but I'm okay with that.
A lot of propane.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about AC units, because again, boy, especially in the summertime, that can literally ruin your vacation.
So we have a basement unit. You can have your rooftop unit. Some people are installing mini splits. I don't care to get on the topic of that.
You can put a mini split on an RV.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that, because
that's got to be an abomination.
That's as dumb as having this president running the United States. I can't talk about that stuff.
Oh, we're drawing lines in the sand tonight. Let me tell you what.
Some of the smaller campers have window units, and also the company Truma, that was mainly making water heaters, came out with their own little AC unit. No, it's Adele. It's not Truma. Sorry, it's ADELE. And they have a little. It looks like basically a window unit, and it sits underneath the in like a cabinet, and it vents out the bottom of your RV. But then they run ducts to small areas similar to your furnace. It's pretty neat.
Okay. I didn't know that was
Yeah, and
possible.
they put
Yeah,
one underneath your dinette too. You just
yeah,
these little campers.
Yeah.
It's underneath your
mhm,
dinette seat. The thing's about this big, and they just sit it in there, and it's 110, and
yeah.
air blows out from underneath your dinette. I've never been in one
Cost a
that's
fortune.
in the summer, but good
So
luck for that.
Yeah.
do they not realize that cold air doesn't rise?
No,
You think
So
they
your
would, but
feet's cold, but your head's going to be hot as
yeah,
shit.
exactly.
Okay.
But they're usually smaller campers. Some of them are in like B classes
teardrops.
or like
Okay.
teardrop campers. They're really known for
Like the
them.
little like the little retros that are running around being pulled
We
that
get
are
a,
like the mint green and the mocha
yeah,
brown.
we get these tabs lately. These like it's
Yeah.
like a Swedish or North
Eh,
American
no,
model or a
no.
Canadian model.
You know what I call it? The doghouse. That's where your dog should be when you're traveling.
Right,
It's
Yeah,
this
right,
place nice and
exactly.
cool. Because if you got two people with you, there's no way to both stand up at the same time because
mm,
your heads are going to hit the roof. It goes like
mm,
this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's
me and Nick in there trying to work. One of us got
claustrophobia.
to get
I mean,
out.
yeah.
All
I
right.
said you gotta
So
leave.
you
I'm
get to
just
work inside, I'll work outside. We're all good.
yeah.
Right?
And there's
Okay,
yeah,
so let's
and
talk
there's
about let's just get out get going. Let's talk about maintenance of the air conditioning, because
mm,
I think you guys said it earlier. People don't even realize there's filters
yeah.
that you got to
You have
clean.
basically a little washable filter that goes into a grate. It could either be directly under the AC unit. Some of the newer units, I say newer, but it's like 2017 and newer. They would just make a nice cohesive seal, and they put the the return vents on the side of it, and then they kind of pull up through the ceiling and then disperse the air from there. There are washable filters too. You can either buy the specific ones that the RV supplier recommends, or you can get like a washable filter and cut to fit at Home Depot, Lowe's, or your local hardware store.
So
And
that was going to be my question is do you recommend the like with mine, they're washable. I mean the ones that
mm,
actually come with the unit. Um, I've always thought about getting two sets. So I've got a clean set in there. I can take the other ones out, wash
mm,
them, put them up, let them dry completely, blow
mm,
them out with some air, and then that way they just constantly turn. But is
mm.
that a good idea?
Yes.
Yeah, I would change them out and wash them I tell people every month, if you're using your RV, if you're living in it, basically whenever you get your rent or that's when you wash your filter. Whenever
Okay.
you get the electric bill, that's when you wash. That's when you wash your filters. The same thing I used to tell them when I did home air conditioning. Is the easiest way to know.
Okay. Now,
Yeah,
Mm,
and the other thing is, even if you do wash your filter every month like you're supposed to, or 2 weeks if you're living in it, you need to have somebody come out and clean your coil still because
mhm,
stuff gets past it. So your coil should be cleaned at least every year, and your pressures checked and your caps.
okay,
mhm.
when you guys come up,
Well,
make sure you bring all that stuff with you.
yeah. Well, a lot of the units, unless somebody put a tap in it, we can't check pressures. We can check the amps on them. Is how we tell if the unit is charged properly. My first big boo
Oh.
boo was when I worked for the air conditioning company. Is I got called out on a com- uh, like a food truck basically, and I put a probe in. I put a port in it to check pressures because we knew they were low, but I was trying to get a reading of them. Well, come to find out, when the warranty go to put it in for warranty, they're like, "Oh, you tapped the unit and you void the warranty." So I had to buy the guy 2 new AC units.
Oh God. You're
I was
kidding
like,
me.
well, I was like, how do you expect us to check the pressures? And they're like, oh, you have to do it off the amps. I was like, well, amps can vary by. There's a lot of things that can vary the amps, and they're like, oh, this is what we do. And I was like, all right, okay, sounds good.
So if it's a heavy draw amp, it's not doing well.
If it's low, so if most of them are going to run around, if the average AC unit is going to run anywhere from about 9 to 10 amps on the compressor, and if it's pulling 6 or 5, it's low on charge, and the output and supply and return difference in temperature, then basically that unit is low on charge and it's time to change them out because it's just not beneficial to put a port in them and charge them up, especially if it's an older R22, the type of refrigerant
Right.
of the unit.
So I got to sound like a genius the other day. We were at a restaurant and I overheard this guy talking about his coach, right? And he says, something wrong with my air conditioner. It's blowing cold in the coach, but the vents in the front that hit me when I'm driving, they're not blowing cold anymore. Matter of fact, they don't even hardly work at all. And I got to say to him, bro, there's a difference between your coach air conditioners and your rig's air conditioner. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, just like your car, you have an air conditioning unit. That is what's coming out of your front vents that's blowing to you out of the dashboard. He goes, no. Mine's all routed through. And I'm like, no, sir, it's not. He goes, well, what's wrong with that? I said, you're probably low on Freon in your actually rig inside on, he went, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. You might want to check that.
Yeah, you might want to check that.
He
might have had the coach off.
He thought that the coach AC was vented through, and I'm like, no,
that's great. No, that's not a thing.
No, that's not the way it works.
He probably shut it off at the campground and figured out, wow, there's no air blowing out my dash now. It's broken.
How about that? Right?
And that's all miscommunication with when they buy it. Somebody should show them how to work this stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, a lot of big box stores, they charge people to show them the unit that they spend
$1,300 and they don't show them nothing.
Or $100,000 on, and they don't tell. Yeah, they don't show them anything. SeaWorld, we'll say, not the actual SeaWorld, but they charge you $900 to $1,300 to show you something you just spent $100,000 on. I'm like, this is crazy. It was complimentary growing up. I mean, when he did sales, you couldn't leave the lot without seeing every light bulb work, and it was crazy.
I'm going to say that, and I know we don't like mentioning big box stores, but GRV.
Okay. They're another one.
I bought that coach. They spent an hour and a half with us walking through that coach. I mean, there was, he's like, oh, and I mean, from top, he made me, my wife didn't do it, but he made me climb on the roof with him to show him. I go, you see this? This is what this does. You see this? This is what this does. And I'm up there going, dude, will I ever need to know this stuff? He goes, actually, you will. He says, as an RV owner, as a coach owner, there's things that you're going to learn that you need to know. He goes, you're not going to do the work, but you need to know what you're talking about when you break down. He goes, and you will break down. He goes, welcome to coach life. He goes, you will break down. He goes, you need to know this stuff. This dude was about to start. And I asked him to film it. He goes, we can't do that. He goes, They won't allow us to be filmed. I'm like, well, that's crap. This needs to be a film. This needs to be a video that every brand new camper, RV coach, whatever, there needs to be a video on this is how the generalization of a coach needs to be used. I never knew, like I said last week, here I am trying to be the perfect leveler, right? It's got to be level. And then your dad tells me, or he goes, oh, no, you want that up a little bit in the front or to the side and let it drain. I'm like, well, shit. Okay. So you don't know this stuff.
It's a mess, and people don't understand about the AC units neither, because most of your RVs, they put the cheap 13.5s on them. And we basically, we won't even put them on. We'll change them to the 15K. Yeah, because unless it's in Florida, Florida is so hot. Them 13.5 is not going to get you cool during the day until nightfall. And people call us and say, well, in August, they'll say, well, it's only getting down to 77. And I got the T-stat on 60. And they want us to come out and look at it. I'm like, there's no sense because
it's not going to reach
you got the wrong size. Yeah, it's not going to reach that temperature during the day.
Nope. So
a lot of people are trying to get.
Can you guys, probably either one, can you explain how an the AC actually works. It's not generating cold air on its own, correct?
The
Correct.
genius will answer this one.
All right, genius.
So
I'm gonna take you full screen on this one because I have people that I know how it works, but they do not know how it works.
So your high pressure comes out of the compressor and then into an expansion device, and then from there it drops the pressure as it goes into your evap, and then from there it turns into a vapor and then gets pulled back into the compressor. That's your basic of it. It's used as a refrigerant. That's that gets pushed through the compressor that they pre-charge from the factory. Every unit has a set weight that it needs to be, and that's how we basically tell how much charge is supposed to be. And on the RV AC unit, you should basically come out of the vents anywhere from 47 to 59, depending on the age of the unit or the refrigerant that it uses.
Okay, well, that I literally thought I was listening to a NASA guy. In layman's terms, it takes hot air, cycles it to make it cooler air.
Okay, so it takes the warm air and it pulls it across the coil, which is your evap coil. So when you pull down your filter and you look up into there, you're going to see a coil. That's going to be your evaporator filter.
Looks like a radiator.
That's where, it looks similar to a radiator.
Okay.
Where the warm air is going to come across there. The refrigerant in there is going to drop the temperature of that air, and it's going to push it out into your RV, and that's going to be that cold air that you get. And then you have the outside air of a condenser coil, which is going to be the outside coil, which you should also wash that when you wash your RV. Wash your condenser coil if you're washing the roof, and that's going to. What will happen is the debris from the outside air will get stuck into that coil, and it'll cause your head pressure to go up, which then your AC stops working as efficiently as it should. So you might be putting out like 59-degree air or 47-degree air, but if that head pressure is up there, the compressor is not going to run as smoothly as it's supposed to. It's going to short cycle. Your AC might still be running where you think it's running, but the compressor is going to be off because it's gone off on a thermal overload.
Right.
And that's the basics of, I guess, the AC without getting into more.
That's not the NASA side. That's not the NASA version.
We're not talking about expansion devices and everything. So
you know what happened about that? When I said genius, he went into his genius mode because he's got mode. Yeah, he can explain to you stuff that's unbelievable with AC.
That's good to have someone like him that understands not only the principle but the true scientific principle behind it, which is good. Yeah, a lot of guys that do this, I find that they understand the understanding of what it does, but they don't know the true scientific principles behind it from why it should work and why it works the way it works. Which is now my question to you, because you said something about like every 2 months, especially in Florida, I would get up and I'd hose off my roof, and I wouldn't scrub it, but I would use a very mild soap so that way I'm not messing with it. But I didn't realize I should have been taking my covers off and spraying the condensers and stuff down. Is that what you're saying to do?
Yeah, so you don't have to take your covers off. Basically, you'll see the coil in the back of it, and you just hose it out with the hose on. Don't use jet. Your best is like a shower, or if you just have the standard nozzle, it just kind of feathers the water out of it. You don't want to be sitting there beating on it because the fins can get pushed over and then air doesn't pass through them properly.
Okay.
Or you can push too much water into there, and then it starts getting to the windings of the motor. Gotcha. And a lot of the units, they use a dual shaft motor. So that motor controls your fan inside and the fan outside. And they're starting to redesign units, so they're using 2 independent motors, which is pretty interesting.
Oh, okay. And it just runs off a relay?
You're going to work everything now is like circuit boards with printed circuit board with relays.
Everything's got to be a damn computer.
Yep. That's
that little Android iPad or whatever it was that Joey showed us is like that thing right there is like what, $1,000?
That is actually
that's like 25. What was it, Nick? How much was it?
Well, so we just did one and that ran. It wasn't the LCI Jayco one that's there. That one ran about $1,700, but we just did one that was $2,100 our
Oh
cost.
my God!
And I was like,
Our cost.
yeah, our cost. And I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
So,
and all it is an Android tablet that's programmed to do certain things. And the new LCI one, we actually in the process we have to code it ourselves or program it ourselves, and it doesn't even come from the factory programmed. So we're paying $2,000 for a part that we have to sit there for an hour and program. And I'm like,
that's
you
crazy.
think for the money, it would already tell you what to do.
Hey, and then know what he does to me? He leaves me to explain this to the insurance company, this woman from Progressive, right? And she says, what are you talking about? Is that all for boards? I said, no, ma'am. I'm talking about the panel inside. She says, well, you got on the estimate $468 for each board, and there's 4 of them. I said, yeah, they're the boards that this thing tells what to do. I said, but everything is gone because lightning had hit this unit.
Oh,
They took it to the Ford dealer first, and this is where all the problems started, right here in town. They cut all the wires underneath, right? Because it got hit by lightning. They cut all the wire and just let them touch each other and arc out.
It was just dangling there.
So, okay, I have a question. This is going to and I didn't prepare you guys for this. Why the hell do all these coaches have Ford motors in them?
Oh, because the big block Chevrolets, the cranks crack. They can't pull the weight.
Oh, so there's a reason.
Yeah.
So, do you prefer gas over diesel or diesel over gas?
It depends what you're doing.
Yep.
Okay. So if I'm doing a lot of mountain stuff.
No, if you're full time and you're going to go up to Tennessee and all that in the mountains, and you're a full timer and you got a lot of money, I would get the diesel. If you're just going like around here or up to Connecticut or whatever, you're better off with the gas because it's cheaper to maintain.
Okay, the next question: pusher or puller?
Pusher.
Pusher.
You don't want a puller.
And that thing, it seems like it strains in the mountains. It strains in the little hills that we have. I was coming where we live in Somerville. We're about 1,500 feet elevation, and even then, it was like, "Hey, I don't like this."
Your boundary's gas, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a puller. It's a puller front.
6.8.
Yeah, it's a V10.
Well, when you thought pusher or puller, we usually think of diesel because there's a diesel pusher, but where they have the rear engine. But they did come out with a Winnebago started putting in the where they started putting the diesel engine in the front. They have this. I think it was Winnebago that came out with the 6.7 diesel engine that they put in the front, and I was actually really surprised to see that. And when it was at the auction, I was like, I have to get my eyes on this.
Yeah, which I'd never seen one before.
The 7.3 Godzilla motors in some of them.
Yeah. So, but I've always that's always been a debate. You know, my wife and I are like, well, should we go to a pusher? All right, should we go to a pusher or a puller? And should we go to gas or we should go to diesel? And then my mind says, well, Joey says don't get new. So I got to start looking because where we're at, we're all mountains in this area. We're Appalachian, and then I'm going to start taking trips over to the other side of my family, which is all Ozarks. So
you want the 350 Cummins. The cap motor's better, but it's very costly to maintain. So you want to go with the 350 horse Cummins with the Allison transmission. And you go anywhere, John.
Yeah, that's 8.1. You'll be anywhere.
If you have a diesel motor, you have a diesel generator, correct?
Or LP.
Majority of the time. Yeah, okay. Majority of the time you can. So
all right, so we got about 6.5 minutes left. We didn't even really talk about maintenance. No. Well, we did maintenance. So did I read a post the other day from you guys that you bought a container of air conditioners?
Yeah, we do every year. We order one.
Yeah,
really?
We try to. Yeah.
Yeah, because in about 3 weeks they're going to be another $150, $200 each. So we try to keep the whole back of the shed full of AC units.
Because we go some that come here. Yeah, some of them come here, some of them stay stock at our supplier, and they keep us there. Basically, when we run out, we say we need them in. We don't have to keep paying for them; they're already paid, and they just keep coming in.
That
Yeah.
that's crazy. And you go through every year. You don't ever have any left over, do you?
No,
Last
we've
year
had
we had two
it's
13.5s left over
yeah.
because we
We usually have
decided,
13.5s. Yeah,
yeah, but what we decided we weren't going to use them anymore unless the customer, didn't have the extra $200-300 to put the
Hey, could I put those
15K
on
on
my
the top.
trailer? My production trailer?
Yes,
yeah,
Pull the vent off
mhm,
of it? Like,
yeah,
it's got
yes,
one of those little
mhm,
flappy things
yeah.
you put up and down. Would that work
yeah,
in there?
They have Well, they have the new
yeah,
Dometic one that's really quiet with the composite pan and the fan and every it pushes more air and it's quieter.
and only 74 pounds instead of 92, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Mhm.
looking for something to put on my black. It's a 16-foot production trailer that
Mm.
not only do we haul our gear in there, but during some events we actually work out of that thing. And let me tell you something. I have this stand-up air conditioner that is a piece of crap.
Oh
It's
yeah, I ain't gonna
loud.
do
It's
nothing.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much I vent it out. It gets hotter and crap underneath it, and it's like it sucks. And I just
No,
run
just
everything
get the
off of a
Dometic.
plug.
Get
Mhm.
the Dometic 15K, the newer one. Uh, it's better for you. But we got to talk about some awnings. The
All
issue
right,
with
let's talk about
awnings,
it. Yeah, we only got 4.5
because
minutes left.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some awnings
Mhm.
I,
because that's another
I,
thing that can
I'm I,
really.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what my son did to me. This customer come in with an awning. They said the awning wasn't working, so I undid the cable, and they didn't tell me it was tore from side to side. The whole bar
I
came
didn't
down
know
and hit me
either.
in the head. It
Yeah, I
knocked me
didn't
right
know.
to the ground, John.
Yeah, yeah. So the
You ain't
manual
supposed to be
awnings.
doing any work, Joe.
This was before the
No,
surgery,
this was
though.
Oh,
this
So
was
okay.
before.
yeah,
This is probably what
this
crushed
is
my
what he
neck to begin with.
Oh, okay.
this is what broke his neck.
It's all Nick's fault.
But anyway,
Yes.
yeah,
No.
these people don't understand that material, when it starts to get frayed, that's got to get changed. Because
Yeah.
if you got a elderly person out there and they're putting an awning out, and all of a sudden this thing comes down on them, it could really kill them. Because
Mhm.
it put me to my knees, and I was shook up the
Yeah.
rest of the day. So
Mhm.
uh, when you see that awning material start tearing on the edges, just replace it.
I got to come see you then
Yeah.
because my slide
Mhm.
out awning is ripped. From we had a
Yeah, but
bad
that's
storm
not
and
going to hit you in the head.
Yeah, that's just gonna unravel.
okay.
Yeah,
So
so like the patio awnings are what will come crashing down, especially if they're manual. They
right.
only have the little latches on the side, and most of the time those are dry rotted, and nobody's paying attention to them. You're lucky if
So
they even
so
latch
Nick,
them with safety travels.
so
Yeah.
Nick, show John real quick on one of the power awnings
Oh,
how big the
okay.
motor
So
is, and there's only one on one side.
yeah, you've seen a window motor, right, everybody? So this
Well,
this is basically that controls. This is LCI for the majority of them, and this little gear is basically
hold on a second.
rotates
I'm
and
gonna go full screen so people can see that. Holy cow, that's it?
yep. So basically, it's a window motor, and this is last week when we were talking about the manual override. You'd put a drill on this and just rotate it, and then that would bring your awning in when the motor breaks or stops functioning.
That is
And
crazy. It's that tiny little thing takes care of that big
it's so
monstrosity.
slow. It's so slow though. It's when they first came out with them, I was like,
Here
"There's
it is.
this
I
something
get it,
has to be
John.
wrong with this."
John, here it is. Here it is. So you might as well sit down when you're at the
Yeah,
picnic table, have a
Yeah.
drink,
yeah.
and hit the
Yep.
button and just sit there and wait.
I have
The
a
lightning
Another
remote
drill
for
plate didn't
thing
mine.
go come back. Yeah. You're going to be holding it a
with
long time.
with
Yeah.
with
Oh
awnings
my
with
god, that is
awnings also
crazy.
Mm.
with awnings also they show you all these YouTube videos, these dummies out there, to spray them down with a bleach and then fold them up and leave them. And next time you
What?
put them out, they'll be
Even I
clean.
know
Yeah.
not to do that. Even I know not to
No,
do that.
if you're gonna wash your awning, leave it out until it's completely dry, and
Right.
then roll it back
Yeah,
up.
and then run it
Don't
back in.
don't listen to
Even
these
the manual
people on
says
the
that.
internet.
Mhm. If
See,
you
Yeah,
the internet will
if you
kill
spray it
you.
down, roll it up, maybe let it sit 5 minutes, then you can bring it back out. But don't spray it. Leave it up, and it'll bleach and chlorine as it sits heats up. And if you have an older style awning or even the iron welded ones. The heat from it can actually cause it to separate, and you're going to reduce the lifespan of your awning material.
Is there a good like moisturizer or kind of an oil or something you could put on it like once a year just to kind of keep it flexible?
No,
there's a vinyl protectant that you could use, but it's not. But it's not nothing that we would recommend. I mean, there's not any certain brand that we recommend.
Do not Armor All it.
Don't Armor All anything.
Hey Nick, give us your 2 tips.
We got 36 seconds. Give me a tip, Nick.
All right. So basically, in the beginning, how we said, start your generator at least and let it run for at least, I would say, 30 minutes. Your filters on your AC unit, at least wash them every month, change them every month. And then as far as the awnings go, if you don't have an actual wind gauge on it, the best thing, if you're not occupying the RV, bring the awning in, or anything over 10 to 15 miles an hour. I say 10. Some people are like, that's only a little bit of wind, but we've seen them come down within 10 miles an hour. And that's pretty much it.
All right, everybody. So if you've got questions, we're going to get a new Facebook page. I'll get it built. Joey will help us get followers because that's what he does.
I'll run it. That's what I'll do, baby.
And then Nick will keep giving us tips, and we'll get all those tips. We'll even cut them little tips up and throw them up there. Everybody, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We are Grounders TV. We will see everybody next week. Bye.
Everybody take care. Happy camping.
Thank you, guys.